All right, everybody. Today I'm going to be interviewing two guys for a project I've been talking about, Astrox or Astrox. I think it's pronouncing. Correct me if I'm wrong when I introduce you guys. I'm here with Adsine and Joel, and they're working on the project we're talking about. It's a project that is kind of straying from what I normally talk about, which is Bitcoin DeFi, but it led me, somehow I got down this path, and we're going to talk about it. So I'll let them introduce themselves and tell them how they got to this point. So, when you two want to take on over?
Yeah, super. So just to kind of introduce ourselves, I'll introduce the team. There's the Crypto Joel, who's the project owner. He'll give an introduction to who he is in a moment. There's myself, Adsine. My name's Mohammed Kola. I'm the Mohammed Kola. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok as well. Myself, I have a marketing agency and I handle marketing and communications for Astrox.
Wow.
And there's the dev team of a few members, and there's about 3 moderators. So Joel, yeah, you can go ahead and introduce yourself and.
Yep, thanks, Etsy. Yeah, so as Etsy mentioned, Joel, founder of Astrox, lead of the team. However, Etsy is, very paramount in that as well. As far as my background, I've been in the crypto space since around 2015. Got a little heavier into it in 2017 and really dove to head first in 2019 with NFTs and then going back to degenning. I really started to notice utility projects are the future as far as what you can do on the blockchain and what analytics you can offer, and that's sort of where AstroX stem from. There's a lot of anonymity in the space, and people aren't held accountable
Mm.
for the followers they have and the influence they have, and so that's sort of what kind of spawned the idea of AstroX actually being able to hold influencers and people that share stuff with other followers, hold them accountable, and really, highlight what their effects are on the market, what they
Mm.
actually influence on charts, and to see sort of, highlight what their capabilities are.
Wow, that's fantastic. So I'll step in. I'll tell you how I got to recognize your project. So I follow a guy named Connor on Chain, and he does a lot of degenning. He has his own Discord, and he mentioned you guys. And I'm very particular about the projects I talk about. I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, but like sometimes I rail into projects, sometimes I'm exuberant about projects. But I normally talk about Bitcoin DeFi, and I've been missing this AI theme for a while. And so when I saw this project, I said, AI seems like more of a buzzword, but what is AI? It's basically data. So I noticed that about your project, and then that crypto influencer thing you just mentioned, like absolutely blew me out of the water. So I had to talk about it, had to see if it was legitimate. Like I don't want to shill my followers any kind of nonsense. I know there's a lot of grift and stuff in the space. So that's how I got here. So I just wanted to say that. Cool.
So so that's like Joel said, that's pretty much essentially. I'm not too sure if you've seen the purpose page on the
Mm.
website. I'd like to go like little bit into some of the problems that the industry experiences. When you mentioned yourself, degenning into projects and what have you, and the Crypto Joel mentioned that as well. And that's actually one of the problems that AstroX came, to solve. We all know that the crypto industry, it's a very risk-ridden industry. It's
Mm.
plagued by speculation, especially when it comes to the lower and mid market cap levels. There's a lot of the market movement is determined by trends and influences and calls. So
Right.
we've got these new crypto influencers, these new crypto users and new traders,
Mm.
new investors who are coming into the industry. They've been around for maybe a month or 2 months or 3 months, and they're constantly met with this narrative that crypto trading, it's quite high risk, and you should only put in or invest what you can afford to lose and what have you. And they're constantly met with this high risk narrative. And then
Mm.
you've got old and veteran crypto enthusiasts, like yourself and the Crypto Joel and so many others who are in the Telegram group for AstroX.
Mm.
And they've been in the industry for years, and they've kind of grown accustomed to what a lot of us refer to as aping, which is
Yeah.
essentially a better term for it's a better term for gambling, isn't it? Right?
Yeah. Right.
Um, we're jumping into projects and investments without actually having a real strategy that can provide
Mm.
consistent and profitable results. And so the idea of Astrox was to, how can we come along and firstly increase the potential profit margins for traders, as well as allowing them to enter trades sooner and thereby reducing some of the risks involved with degenning and aping and what have you. And so that's what Astrox essentially does. It's about helping people to get into trades sooner by
Right.
having real-time insights into what calls and influencers are saying. But a bit more than that. So obviously Astrox, the bot, what we've done is we've done something that's never been done before in crypto before us anyway. It has been done by some of our competitors recently, but we've done something that was never done before us inside and outside of the crypto industry, and that's creating a bot that's integrated directly with the X API, which allows us to have the real-time tracking of calls and influencers. And many of our users are actually reporting that they receive notifications in the bot a lot quicker than the in-app notifications on X itself. But obviously, that's not the main part. The most important part is we implemented contract address tracking and ticker alias allocation for contract addresses, which has allowed us to develop the bot further, to not only just track the influencers and calls, but to actually measure their real impact on a project's market cap, on the price and the volume as well. So once we have that in place, we were then able to implement a score and rank system for the influencers, meaning that you're now able to see which influencer is having the most impact on projects across the board, which one's coming second, which one's third, and finally which one's in last place. And you're able to actually measurably see which ones are genuinely having an impact on projects and which calls you should be following and which influencers you should be avoiding.
That's so funny you say that, because people are saying like, when I started talking about, you guys, the price went up, and I'm like, well, I only got 2K followers, man. Like, that's not many. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So it'd be nice to see if, that's actually true. There is an influencer from, myself or others on the price of some type of project, such as yourself. So insanely useful, I think, honestly.
I don't think we have enough time to go over even some of the other features as well. There's about another 9 or 10 features on top of what I've just mentioned. There's something called first mover analysis. So this is where you can see, where a user of the bot can see when an influencer has mentioned a specific ticker in relation to other influencers and in relation to the total mentions of that particular ticker. So for example, let's say for yourself, for example, Call Me Hunch. You've called Astrox at a very early stage, and maybe you've called other projects at early stages. The users of the bot would be able to see that you're consistently calling successful projects in their early stages, and so they're able to determine that, hey, Call Me Hunch is actually pretty good at finding good projects early on, so I'm going to start listening to every other project that he calls early on as well. And you're kind of able to now determine a pattern. Who's calling projects early? Which influencers and calls are just copying other influencers and calls and calling the projects later? So you start to gauge, where about this, where along the stem or the root of the plant you can actually get involved.
That's really cool, because when I first started talking about you guys, I was like, this isn't just a solution for degens. I feel like this is a useful product for, a hedge fund or a trading desk or whatever, or people with big money, just individuals. I mean, or to target marketing people if you want to make deals, with the influencer. So even to drive revenue to my own project, if people see that I'm reliable, I got like this good credit score essentially, that could drive revenue if I got a Patreon or a membership thing or so on and so forth. So useful for the industry, useful for individual users, all around a great idea, in my opinion. I'm sure my users want to know is like, is this a rug pull? Is this, this and that? Because, you'll see the stock or the tickers go up and down. I saw you're trying to do like a trust thing. Could you tell me about that, just to reassure the people who do listen to me that this is a legitimate project and you guys are really trying to bring value to the space?
Yeah, sure. So we've obviously KYC'd recently. For certain reasons, the crypto Joel himself he's not able to dox at this particular moment in time because he does work for the Department of Defense for the United States, and so for certain reasons he's not able to dox. I myself, he is KYC with trust. That's the first thing. So he has submitted obviously his identification documents. He's he's agreed to a disclaimer to ensure that no funds or anything like that are misused from Astrox and what have you. I've done the same. I've submitted my personal identification documents to Trust, and I'm KYC with them as well. Myself, I'm also doxed. You can find the real me. You can find the business which I own in the UK, which is the AdScene Group Limited. It's a marketing agency. So yeah, you guys can definitely trust us. There's not, we're paying $5,000 every single month to X for the API access. That alone speaks volumes. The fact that we're willing to use funds from the marketing wallet, from the taxes that are generated from the volume and what have you, that we're actively using that for the project. We're using it to pay X. We're using it to pay for further developments and improve further developments. We're using it for marketing as well. We've been paying for SectBot. We're using marketing there. There's various other methods of marketing as well, which we're implementing. For example, paid AMAs, paid callers. And we're also going to be implementing, social media marketing at some point soon. When I say social media marketing, specifically referring to paid advertising, that begins some point soon. We were actually working on an X campaign today. So we're hoping that our X advertising can start within the next few days. If there's not any holdups with the account, obviously they have to review and what have you as well. It's the way it is when it comes to crypto or financial services. They do have to review the account and review the ads and what have you. So yeah, we're here to stay. We're here to actively work hard. There's definitely the trust factor there. We're paying the fees that need to be paid, for the X API, and we can go on and on the reasons why we should be trusted. But yeah, I'm hoping that's enough to cover it.
No, I mean, that's everything. One of the things I want to know the most is, like, how big do you guys see this market? Is this a relatively small market, a huge market? Do you see yourselves as an AI player? That's what I'm interested in.
Okay, so at the foundation, the AI aspect of the utilities that we have, it's quite small, and that's where that's referring to the sentiment, the sentiment analysis of tweets, whether they're positive, neutral, or negative. Now that particular aspect will be built out in the future. So that being said, I wouldn't consider us at this moment in time to be categorically AI. Okay. The main purpose of our utility is, as I've mentioned, to allow people to get into trades sooner, so that they can increase their profit margins and just kind of to reduce risks as well. That being said, how far do I see that this particular project could go? So we already have users with the limited data that we have, right? We already have users reporting that they've gotten into trades that they normally would not have gotten into. They've gotten into trades earlier than they normally would have, so they've increased their profit margins, and they've been able to exit rug pulls that they would not have been able to exit had it not been for this particular utility. Had they not used AstroX, they would have been rugged and they would have lost funds. So we've got various use cases. We do intend, obviously it won't happen today, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but at some point in the future, we hope one day that this will be a tool that is an absolute essential, gun that's needed in the arsenal of every single crypto trader worldwide.
Yeah.
We've got three target audiences, specifically 2 user profiles at the moment that we're targeting. The first one obviously being traders, so traders coming along and seeing which influencers are performing the best, which accounts to follow, which ones are having the most impact, so they don't have to go through the hundreds of notifications on X and what have you. And the second user profile at the moment would be project owners. So a project owner on Ethereum or Binance or what have you can come along and immediately assess which callers and influencers and calls are having the best impact on projects. So now they can improve their marketing ROI by cherry picking the right voices and spending marketing wallet funds where it counts. So yeah, we definitely see AstroX reaching corners that very, very far corners. We hope the growth will be sustained and will continue in the direction that we see it going at the moment.
Yeah, to me, that's what drew me to this. I mean, this is such a dynamic business for a lot of people involved, right? The traders, the businesses, everybody. Insane amount of value, I felt like. So really cool. Do you see this as like a similar type of thing as like getting information early? For example, like when Warren Buffett sells like a massive chunk of stock, right? And then he does a quarterly report because you have to report that to the SEC. This is almost like super valuable because you can get a jump on something like that within the crypto markets, right? Is that how you kind of see it, or am I
Yeah,
misinterpreting it?
that's one of the foundations of it, is to help. It's to help traders ethically front run, so to speak, to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're following the, if somebody, for example, has the premium account with Astrox, right, where they
Mm-hmm.
can follow, unlimited calls and influencers, and they've got like 10 to 15 to 20 calls and influencers who they're tracking, and they're able to see which ones are having the most impact and which ones are making those early calls. They're now able to gauge that, okay, we can see consistently this group of influencers, they're consistently making those early calls, and these are the ones that I'm going to follow for the next calls that they make. So they see these influencers now, they're calling something at a 50k market cap, or at 20k market cap, or at 30k market cap. They're not able to decipher that. They're consistently making the right calls because they have the experience, because they understand utility, because they understand the market, because they understand how the project works. They understand everything that goes into a project being successful, and that's why they're making those particular calls. So now I could follow that call. So let's say, for example, something we had a user. He wasn't going to, there was a particular project, for example, he wasn't intending to jump into, and he was able to see at 170k market cap. Had it not been for Astrox bot, he wouldn't have been able to see that. Bearing in mind that we're at such early stages for Astrox, we currently only have about 315 accounts being tracked by the bot. That's at this stage. Now,
Wow.
imagine this time next year, there could be 15,000, there could be 20,000 accounts, there could be
Right.
100,000 accounts being tracked by the bot, from traders, project owners, influencers and calls and what have you. So all of this data will come together because all of the data is aggregated. It comes into a single data set. And so all of the data is consistently improving. Every second that goes by, every day that goes by, every week that goes by, the data is improving and it's becoming more and more accurate, and it's giving more and more insights. So
Right.
yeah, so that's essentially the foundation.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that sounds like the AI aspect of it, right? It's continuously learning and improving. On my channel specifically, we talk about, I've talked about Stacks for like 3 years now. Like, I front ran everybody in Stacks, essentially. I mean, even when it was down in the dumps. So I'm really interested in bringing like long-term value, right? So do you see this really picking up steam in the future and, surviving a bear market? Do you have the tools in place? Do you are you going to build out a web API? Do you see it on things like Discord? Do you have those types of working projects in your mind going forward?
Yeah, so I'll tell you exactly what we intend to do in the future. I mean, obviously, we're hoping that we've entered a bull market. It seems like some people say we've entered it already. Some people say that we haven't entered it yet. I'll leave the debate to get up to those guys.
Right.
I don't know what your opinion is, but for me, it doesn't make a difference whether we've entered or not. It's imminent, right? It's here. It's going to last maybe a year, 1.5 years, maybe 2 years, right? So we do have a vision in place for the future to protect us from a potential bear market. I'll come on to that in a moment. At the moment, Astrox, what we plan to do is we plan to just build out one particular feature before we then move on to the next major milestone, which is the web UI interface. We do intend to build a web UI interface. Think like Google Analytics, but for trend analytics on X, where you can customize the data parameters, and you can have all of these different kind of advanced data visuals and what have you to really understand some of the data, because obviously a Telegram bot is there's only so much that it can do, right?
Right.
Which is the reason why we intend to build the web UI interface. The web UI interface is going to be synchronized. It's going to be connected to the Telegram bot. The data, it's going to be synchronized. It's going to be using one and the same API, so everything will be the same in terms of the data streams. Okay. Once the web UI interface is built out, we then move on to rolling out the languages. So then we work on language development, making the bot and making the web UI interface available to French users and German and Dutch and Turkish and Chinese, the Chinese market and the Arabic market and what have you. And then we can kind of work on the global marketing. Now, we do intend to eventually, once we've perfected this bot, and once we've perfected the whole utility, and once we've perfected the snipe features as well, and everything else to do with the utility in its entirety and the web UI interface, we do intend to make the utility available to enterprise. Now, when I say enterprise, I mean non-crypto businesses. We intend to develop a bot for non-crypto businesses where they're able to come along and use the utility to determine which influencers for their particular niches outside of crypto, of course, for their niche, whether it's health and well-being, whether it's food, whether it's clothing, you know, whatever it is, whatever industry it is, they're able to come along and see which particular influencers are actually driving trends and which ones are having an impact on trends, which ones are jumping onto trends, and they're really able to see which influencers are driving the market and having an impact on their particular market and niche. And that's what we intend to do. When it's going to happen, whether it happens in 6 months or 9 months or 12 months, we can't really say. That particular aspect of the roadmap is undetermined, but we do intend to do it. And we do intend to make sure that it's active and ready to be used, and to be we do intend to make sure that it's marketed well in advance of us entering a bear market, because obviously they won't be paying in crypto, they won't be paying in Astrox, they will be paying in fiat currency, US dollar, or model, as it'll essentially be software as a service.
Right. I mean, that's exactly how I envisioned it. I am so hyped, like, that I found this project this early. Obviously not financial advice, but I have to say that, I guess, because I'm in the US. But on my screen, I have here a Lunar Crush. I always thought this was an interesting project. You know, they use kind of the same type of features, but it never really worked well for me. So I'm hoping that you guys are putting an emphasis on like user friendliness and all that. Is that the case, or are you going to target purely that what do you call it? Not retail, a business or so on and so forth?
Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not following the question.
Are you guys going to put a focus on UI for like the everyday trader, or are you going to target more of the businesses, you know, versus, you know, retail versus business?
So for now, for the web UI, that's developed as the next major milestone. That will be focused for the trader. Yeah. Okay. It's going to be focused for the trader, but as much as it'll be focused for the trader, we do find that it's going to work well for the project owners as well, because essentially a project owner, you know, a crypto project owner is going to be looking for the same things as a trader. Is the influencer impacting the market cap? Is the influencer impacting the volume? Is the influencer calling trends early, so that maybe we can kind of remodel our project to be in line with the trend that they've called early? So essentially it's going to be built out, and it's going to be optimized for traders and project owners, because the use cases are, well, not so much the use cases, but the things that they're looking for are one and the same. When it comes to enterprise in the future, that's obviously, it's not going to be the same bot. It's going to be another bot, but built in the same way, but specifically for enterprise. And so obviously the web UI would be different as well. They wouldn't be using the same web UI as the traders use for trading, because obviously there's no need for them to have ticker analysis and tickers associated with contract addresses and what have you as well. For enterprise, obviously it's a different aspect. They'd be focusing more on hashtags and language processing and understanding the language that you know that influencers are using in order to determine trends and what drives the markets and what have you.
Okay. Well, I think I've touched on everything. So is there anything you guys want to just say that I missed about your product, about your vision, about Astrox, the coin, tokenomics, anything that you want to talk about?
So I suppose I could mention the tokenomics, just so that, you know, some of your listeners can have some familiarity with that. The total supply is 990 million. All tokens are in circulation. We have the 5% tax on buys and sells, and obviously that covers the $5,000 cost per month of the X8.
Yeah, people were wondering that. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, it covers the development costs and development maintenance. It covers marketing, the project was launched as a fair launch. There was no pre-sale. We have a free version of the bot available, along with 5 premium tiers. So with the free version of the bot, somebody can come along and track 5 X accounts. For the meantime, we do plan to change that at some point in the near future, where they can only track 1 account. because we think that we think being able to track 5 accounts and with all of the with all of the aspects of the utility that they're able to access, even with the free version, we think that we do need to change that at some point soon, but we will let you guys know when that happens. And obviously with the other tiers, access to those tiers, depends on the number of AstroX tokens that you hold, and then that's obviously gives you access to more accounts and more of the features. And then obviously there's a subscription model that we have in place as well for people who don't intend to buy AstroX or hold AstroX, where they can access the highest premium tier, which is the diamond tier, for 0.1 ETH per month.
Wow.
And we also have a rev share model in place. So all of the revenue that we earn from the subscription model and also from the advertising on our AstroX Shield. When I say Shield, it's a very unique shield that's never been done before because it's connected with the X API, and it actually gives data on members of a Telegram group who sorry, Joel, can you just cover that aspect briefly?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll chime in on that. Yeah, so there's similar shields out there, but ours will be unique in the fact that it allows the projects that run it to actually track how users are affecting the price market cap of their token, how many influence or how many accounts are liking, retweeting, and commenting on their specific posts. And it just keeps us in line with what our whole premise with AstroX is that accountability and capturing data on who's affecting your project the most and how positive of an influence they're having on it.
I find this to be a very interesting aspect because it seems that you've identified a niche where that crypto is almost like a social movement, and it's inherently deeply tied to influencers and YouTube and Twitter and Instagram, and all of those things. So very impressed with that aspect of your business, honestly. So just wanted to throw that out there. Anything else?
You said business. So it's an undetermined ETA, but it will happen at some point. We do actually intend to incorporate the project at some point.
Wow.
Whether it's going to be in the States or the UK or possibly the UAE, we're not too sure. We haven't decided yet. But once we've achieved certain milestones, before we actually get to the level of developing the enterprise, section of the project, we do intend to incorporate the project. Yeah.
Okay. So, I got one more, just so we're not hyperboles. Is there any threats or risks that you foresee that my users can just dwell on, think about? I don't want to be only a hyperbole here. I want to give them full disclosure. So any risk, competitors, so on and so forth that you see, or do you feel like you've hit the niche in the market here?
The reality is that there are competitors. At the same time, I would say we are the first mover in this particular space. We have big goals. We have a marketing plan. We have several marketing plans, which and they're all consistently evolving.
Right.
And they all, we intend to do them all at different stages and what have you. And there's different phases of each of those plans. In terms of where we can go long term, I don't necessarily have any fears. The reality is anything can happen, right? We could go in all of a sudden a bear market next week and the whole industry crashes, and obviously that will affect our project. It will affect all the multitude of other projects that are on, Ethereum or Binance or what have you. So are there risks involved? Yes. With any project, it's important to, do your own research, do due diligence, make sure that you're only willing to invest as much as you can lose, which is obviously a narrative that we're trying to change.
Right.
But yeah, apart from those generic concerns, I don't really have any particular concerns. There are competitors that have come up. I think we've got probably 3 or 4 competitors now, maybe 3. But I don't have too much concerns with the competition because the reality is that, let's say for example, L2s, there's probably hundreds of them that exist now, but then you've got so many of them, sitting at large market caps, and they're doing very well and they're very successful, and people are using, their blockchains and what have you. So I don't think the competition will hold us back from growing. If anything, it might be a positive thing because the more competition there is, the more awareness there is of our particular niche, which they bring, which essentially the competitors bring awareness to us as well. Because obviously the great thing with the crypto industry is that nobody ever sticks to one single project when they invest. They invest in a multitude. When somebody invests in an AI project, for example, they invest in every AI project. So when somebody invests in a data trend project, a trend data project like ourselves, they'll invest in the other 3 or 4 competitors that exist as well. And those investors in those other 3 or 4 other competitors, they'll obviously eventually come over to us. So it builds awareness. So in terms of competition, I'm not scared about that. I think it builds awareness for our entire niche.
Okay, great. Super excited to have you guys. I don't have any questions, but feel free to send me any DMs if you want me to talk about anything else. I'm sure I'll be talking about your project all the time. So I think that's good for me.
Super, man. Yeah, just take a browse of the website, if you just if you want to introduce your users to the website, encourage them to visit it as well. There are some extra pages that we're building out on the website. There's going to be a case study section as well. For users that have had success, we'll be building out case studies. We've got a news and insight section that hopefully will be active by mid-March, where we'll have articles, we'll have press releases, and what have you. So just keep an eye on us and see how things progress along.
I will. I'll be watching you guys, and I'll send my viewers over to check it out. So thank you so much, and I'm gonna hit end on the stream now. So appreciate you guys, and you can call me Hunch. Astrox, check them out.
Nice.